Hey there, Shrine Runners! Hello, and welcome to the Fox Shrine. I'm Araxis, your host, and tonight we're going to be playing some more of the Great Ace Attorney. I'm sorry I wasn't able to stream the past few days. Obviously, I had just gotten my vaccination and no sort of side effects or anything like that, but they did advise to take things easy, so I did. And obviously I was a little bit sore anyway, so decided that was a good idea. Hey there, Kuro. Welcome. Hope you're doing all right. Okay. So, how are you going? I just finished having some dinner myself. Had basically some basically like pasta bolognese sort of stuff with some parmesan cheese. That's pretty nice. And looking forward to getting back into streaming. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it only took a few days for the pain to go away. Like, I didn't really sort of notice it for the most part, except if you sort of lifted your arm, really. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Okay, let's get into the Ace Attorney, shall we? Now, as per usual, do let me know if there are any issues. Yeah, dinner was all right. I certainly had no issues. Okay. Right. We got these two chuckle fucks on the stand now, don't we? We're the only two people up on that roof deck, dead or alive. I can swear to that. And this guy's like an Australian bloke, right? Oh, if anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. There's no reason to kill the man. Well, the skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. You're so sure the victim fell through the skylight? Where's your proof? Oh, I must say that listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine. How either witness could have performed any malevolent act on the open roof deck without the other noticing forthwith, as they were both involved. That's right, you see? We're innocent, I tell you. Although, logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? Eh? Nani? According to the investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich. He's got a point there. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So, why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense. Over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord, sir. Alright. So, first things first, whenever we're at a new investigation, gotta press all the witnesses. Gotta press them for information on every single thing that they say. Let's go. So, at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Oh, absolutely not, Dickon. No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course, I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here. Is that true, Mr. McGilded? Oh dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. That's an outright lie. without doubt you were engaged in. Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all? Ah. It's all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is, so it is. You do well to remember that. I saw you with my own eyes. This is going so well. Okay. I'm not familiar with Malokia, Waka Anab, or rice. Do tell me about that, especially the strange dish you call rice. Of course I know what rice is. But I would actually like to know about the other stuff. It's always good to just sort of know about other stuff. It took a while to find English translations. That's the English translation? I suppose that would be the English transliteration, but... Okay, if anything had happened when we were sitting, wouldn't one or the other of us have noticed?
Hold it!
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark. Perhaps too dark to see clearly. Is this some kind of lark? Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what it is? Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly. You fair dinkum, sir. Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. Yeah, I can't imagine being able to fall asleep on top of one of those things. Like, I think this is before suspension was a real thing. I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bit of cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you. We had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie! I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. Now, it was a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. 'Tis hardly surprising. Seeing things? Seeing things? I'm imagining him being voiced by, like Eric Idle or something from like Monty Python. Malokia is a soup made with beef stock and other soup meats. And Malokia specifically is Malokia both a vegetable and a soup? Or is that perhaps Waka Anab? Fried in butter and garlic, though. Oh, okay, I see. So adding it to the stop. Yeah, both. Gotcha. Yeah, I see. Okay. Butter and garlic. That sounds nice. I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point. Oh. Ah, you! Oh, hell! Thank you very much for continuing your subscription. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. How are you going, by the way? Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. That's great to hear. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really. Okay, in any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. No reason to kill the man.
Hold it!
So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, lummy, no, not once, never. He'd never met the man before, he said, never. And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either? That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. And the waka naba's a mix of meat, usually beef and rice, wrapped in vibe leaves, cooked in water and butter. Cooked sushi. Well, sushi isn't always raw or anything. It's when people think raw fish with sushi, they're actually thinking about sashimi. There's plenty of sushis out there that are cooked. No, I imagine not. You see? How many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest...
No.
Oh. I see. Gonna stop using Twitch Prime, but apparently it says it only works for partners a little too late. That's stupid. I thought it... Like, I'm like 100% sure that I have used Twitch Prime for affiliates and not partners. Unless things changed recently, or possibly it's a regional difference? I'll have to... Maybe regional. That's still stupid. But in the resubscribe, it was there. So when I've registered, it's gone. That's pathetic. Do better, frickin' Amazon. I have a lot of problems with Amazon, mind you, and that's just one more if they're sort of discriminating regionally with Prime subs. So I think you should be able to sort of use Prime for affiliates, regardless of which region you're in. Okay. So we got to know to come back to this one here, because the man that we're representing is apparently being a bit sus here. Possibly knows. Actually, stop being sus. I think he might know of a connection between them. Perhaps beyond the debt connection. Anyway, let's continue from here. Neither of us has Murder's connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin. That's right, this is about motive. We had none. No motive. And, well, that's, not all, is it? Okay, so the skylight was shut the entire time. Can possibly be open it. Alright, so I've got to go back to the third one. Press first. Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. See? Shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is. Of course, a fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it, still and all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand? Now you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion, when, well, I broke wind. Loudly. I shocked myself when it happened, as it happens. That's like those videos of, like, dogs, that, break wind and suddenly react strongly to it. This is unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just mean to say... well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. On account of the smell. But just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as rouge, I did. Are you expecting me to sentence you? No, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened.
Wait, that ain't...
Aha! So we've got another one over here. We've got two things we need to pursue. I tried and tried when I was inside the Cabin of Shame. Okay. The skylight doesn't open, you say. So that proves it. You couldn't have kicked the victim down the cabin below, I tell you. Neither of us could. Nobody mentioned anything about kicking anyone. Like I said, these little details are like little nuggets at best. It's a mother lode we should be looking for. Okay. You're so sure the victim fell through the skylight? Where's your proof?
Hold it!
Proof. That's right. I demand to hear it. We came here to say what we saw, I tell you, not for this. You call us both shikers, brand us as criminals, call us liars, that's what he means, and accuse us of doing it. As it stands at the moment, there's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves now, is there? I believe we're in much the same position as one another here. I don't crack this case soon, he'll crack his teeth. I wonder if these two men really were involved in some way. I couldn't say. I mean, I don't really know anything about them, do I? Although, by the same token, I don't really know anything about Mr. McGilded either. So hard to know what to believe here. I think we should try to remember that it's evidence alone that can truly determine the outcome of a trial. Why the fuck are you questioning the jury? They're not supposed to be on the jury if they are witnesses. Those guys are witnesses. They aren't on the jury. Although, we did get to question the jury earlier, so that's a not. Let's just put that one to the side for now. Evidence. No one can argue against decisive evidence, including the members of the jury. You're saying that what we need now is to find a conclusive piece of evidence. Why are there more than one on the stand? Was this his Great Britain love? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Precisely. Alright. So, press here. And we'll continue along.
Well, no.
And over here, we'll go talk with Mr. McGilded about this connection.
Excuse me.
Mr. McGilded. Oh yes, Consul. What can I be doing for you? What can I be doing you for? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Get me a Midori and a lemonade. That's a good choice there, Kuro. Midori and lemonade. Coming right up. Where is it? Never mind. You've got it. You've got it. I need to get like a whole bunch of sort of like transparent drinks or something for people. That'd be cool. Not the remotest connection. Is it right now, I wonder? What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, so it has. Yeah? I'm not very much mistaken. I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date. Recipe for Midorian pineapple. Can't find pineapple in your local store. That's a shame. I still need to give gin and tonic a go. I've got some gin, I've got some tonic. But I'm not quite sure of the proportions required, so I've sort of been hesitant to give it a go. I've even got some lime at the moment. What proportions do you normally go for gin and tonic? I beg your pardon? You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. Well, now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on another? Ugh! And young Mr. First. Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? Alright. So it's basically similar to Rum and Coke, I guess. Their top hat sliding about on your head. That are your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine jet walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, it's a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers. Such as Price-Fired Mason. There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence of fraud, my lord. Oh, this you mean. Can't help thinking that the poor fella's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh! That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So, it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. That sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. One of the Schweppes tonic waters. A pink one that's raspberry or strawberry, that is nice for gin. Okay, so not just plain tonic water or anything, or quinine tonic water, but flavored in other ways, huh? Okay. Oh, no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. Wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see? I rest my case. You little weasel! Ugh! He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please, don't let a little interruption hold up the proceedings. Oh, I got an achievement for that. Hat Hunter. Huh. All right, maybe that was an optional thing that I got to press on. You don't get to say that. Only we lawyers get to say that. All right. All right. He's gonna talk about breaking wind in a moment. Oh, thank you very much for the bits, Kurabachi. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Your donation will go to strengthening myself. Okay, Skylight can't be open.
Wait, that ain't.
Yep. Alright. What have you got to say, Missy?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Does not make the tail more fluffy. Improves my magical strength. Miss Lestrade? It opens. Skylight. That's what we're talking about, right? Oh no. Not in court. All them skylights open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon? That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, I can't do it from the inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out of my ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Oh, charge that lady. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch and jumped right through. What? Yeah, catch of them skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. Skylight opens from the roof deck. Bailiff? Climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims. Oh. Oh, my hat! See? Rabble. Order! So, it appears that the street girl's statement is quite true. Don't believe it. The skylight opens, and from the roof deck, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be the clue we've been looking for. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Alright. I have to go up here, I guess, and have a look-see. Skylight was fastened shut before, but now the catch has been undone, we should be able to open it. Aha! That's why they've placed a stain on the floor. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. So if we go inside, I guess. What if we look up now? Oh. What if you look at the blood stain now? That's blood. Nothing wrong. Just blood stain is so obvious, that's all. Yep, made no mention of it. else I should be... Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. Why someone like me? Ah! What is it? Look, just Jesse, look at this. That's without question. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what we're looking at now. It's blood. Why would there be a blood stain there? Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? There we go. Bloodstain visible on the frame of the skylight when it's open. Now, I feel like that blood there... Oh, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have skipped over there. But we've got evidence now to sort of preempt him with this here. Now, again, we're fairly sure that this was tampered with. And chances are the bloodstains got added as well, not just removing of the luggage. Okay.
Objection.
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug! Can't possibly have any evidence. No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do what I tell you. It's impossible. Irrefutable proof. Here, in this courtroom. Counsel. My lord, I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly within the omnibus is this evidence to which you allude? You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell from the roof deck through the skylight. Over here. Oh. Alright.
Got it.
Y button. By Jupiter, is that blood? Ugh. This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my! And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. No! Order! Order! Order!
Hold it.
But blood could have sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin. And only found its way to that one particular spot on the skylight? Sure, that would be very convenient. And let's keep it in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? But, there's no way to know for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean? Oh, why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? It's all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fella dropped from a fair height right there, so it is. What? No! But it can't be! That's all lies!
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we?
I believe we can, yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they? Here we go again, indeed, hell. This is not the end of the case.
I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On three, then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
Here we go.
A most chilling performance, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zeeks? I thought he wouldn't say anything.
A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void.
What? Why?
For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed. And I should know, for I am a vampire, expert in matters of blood. I would have smelled it before, had it been there in the first place.
Objection!
What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood. Jurors this time? It's from the Apollo Justice Games, right? No, actually. The jury only exists right at the end of Apollo Justice, and they don't take nearly as prominent a role as they do here. This is basically an entirely new mechanic.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no such smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least, not until this trial began.
See, this guy may be racist, but he doesn't seem to be forging evidence, at least, which is one thing we can sort of say. And he doesn't seem to be browbeating the judge into submission either.
Are you suggesting, Lord Van Zeeks, that this stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. And while this court has been in session.
What? Oh, what a palavery. What a palaver. I must say, I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standard, Lord Van Zeeks. But I'm Magnus McGilded, fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilder's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Rich people are much more capable of getting away with crime than the poor are. By virtue of having money. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. But, Lord Van Zeeks, this will not do, to be sure. Will it now, Consul? No. I think it's fair to say this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood of the Skylight didn't exist, you say? But, you will all cast your minds back. Is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Isn't that right now, Consul? It's not true! That was a frickin' smoke bomb! Omnibus has been in full view the entire time that court has been in session. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter. In your own words. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think it absolutely could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best as I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. The tooth! There is no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh! Good gracious! Explain yourself, Consul. Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of learning from this deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take as a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. Emergency recess. Bailiff, hold the defendants in custody. Secure the courtroom.
The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten feckless gouger? Feckless? Gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. It's a wicked plot. There's a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Unfortunately, Lord Van Ziet, no one is able to corroborate your claims. I can! That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? The bloodstains on the floor. My lord. Yes, Counsel. There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial. What? What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you better start watching your back. Silence, McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification. This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. No idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here? Well, I shall have to ask you to elaborate, Counsel. Where exactly is this alleged mark that you claim to have appeared at some point during the trial? This one here.
Got it!
If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to see signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, Counsel. Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense,
one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded? I've done everything possible I can to cooperate with the court, but it's all over now. But you're the defendant. It's over, I tell you. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw. It's all a nonsense. Facts are what counts. And the fact is, that bloodstain is there. Now. Well. And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I'd thought better of Lord Van Zieks. Well, my lord? I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Van Zieks, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty. Yes, which would mean leave one. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies? Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Oh. Yes, my lord. The defense believes... I know as a counsel, I'm required to defend my client completely. But honestly, like, could be guilty is different from guilty. Like, let's be real here. In a criminal investigation, you must be proven beyond all reasonable doubt that you've committed the crime. Now, beyond all reasonable doubt differs between individual interpretations, but people consider this to be like 90 to 95% certain that that the person did it before you should
say that they're guilty. Right now, he certainly seems to be guilty. I don't think it's beyond all reasonable doubt, I would say. Probably enough to be given a not guilty sort of verdict due to all the strangeness going on. But I would absolutely argue that the trial should be rescheduled for a later date, so that things can be investigated further. That's what I would be arguing for. Because at this point in time, like, if we say the defendant is innocent, like, who's the guilty party here, I wonder? Is it the two gents up on the top? We have to sort of go to trial for them and also pronounce them not guilty because of a lack of decisive evidence. We have to sort of go back here. Let's go not guilty. Could be guilty. I am here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, I am not actually a real lawyer, and I am going to say that my client could be guilty. At this moment in time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to the defendant's innocence. What are you saying, man? Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent. Good. Good gracious me! Order! Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused's innocence into question. Are you of sound mind? No, sir. I am Japanese. That's a horrible thing to say. That's a casual racism counter, I guess. But again, these games aren't realistic. Oh, it was a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. Avatar of Truth and Justice. Yeah, Truth and Justice. What? I must say, I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Ah. Your job here is done, fella. And some fine work you've done, so you have. What do you mean? It's just as the right honourable gentleman so succinctly put it afore. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did he put it now? Nothing more than a formality. Ah, he is the penguin. I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. Stinking rich, you're always guilty of something. You... mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely part. Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. That's not how trials go. The jury's got to come to a decision. Although, like, obviously, like, if there's some sort of wrongdoing, the trial can be cancelled and postponed. Like a hung jury, I guess. I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
Objection.
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Van Zieks, my lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. Actually, I suppose, like, if there are sort of like there is like gross evidence that evidence was mishandled and stuff, like the defendant can sort of be let off on technical grounds, like basically like the perverted course of justice. So I guess this is what's happening here. Shouldn't have brought the entire carriage into court, I guess. My sincerest apologies, my lord.
Objection.
But wait. When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zieks ordered the evidence to be secured. I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. What? Well, Lord Van Zieks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't ask for a better defense. You mean to tell me that this is a little bit of grand waste of time? 'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus McGilded. What grief, you've more to say to me, have you? Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over. Well, something to be looking forward to then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, the trial's just going to end like that, huh? I can't say I predicted that. That's a twist and a half. This is an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly a victory for us. Yeah, that's true. You best buddy. Well, 18th February, 5:14 p.m., Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. It certainly was a long trial. Now, do keep in mind, that head guy, Male Strongheart is the guy that sent us over here. Now, I'm wondering if these two possibly have some nefarious dealings together. He's the one who sent us over to deal with that, and he said that it would be fine. Like, he said some sort of suspicious thing. Yeah, he said it was an easy case. So... the entire justice system is corrupt! What else is new? Ah, yes, it was. Also, M on the dagger. Holy shit. M. M for male. Oh boy. Your first ever trial on foreign soil and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Miss Susato. Thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. Trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. Isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGilded. Ah, that girl is with him too. Well, seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure yous must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I viewed a tank, I suppose. Or having an opportunity to see it. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How do I walk out of there a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. 'Tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. Technically, that's not your job. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh, they've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Oh, be whist. You're a humble person, are you from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this, still and all. You deserve a reward.
Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom.
I suspect he bribed the bailiff. After all, Van Zeeks asked the bailiff to secure the carriage. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? This sooner than I was led to believe.
Hope it's not too inconvenient, sir. Were some changes to the schedule.
Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now, but as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. It is a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. And there he goes. A free man. You know, might be reverting, I guess, before it gets to Scotland Yard. I don't think they'll be Could be. Could be they're planting even more evidence to point to a specific person, perhaps. Who knows what might be going on there. Or that might just be what he's saying, and they're arranging the payment now. Or possibly, male Strongheart is gonna go kill him and tie up the loose ends. Who knows? Guess we'll find out. Oh, I thought she was here too. Don't move! Whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Ah, crap, it's a stick-up. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're grown up. Sorry? I ate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. Oh! Leonardo da Vinci? What sort of voice has she got? Naughty, naughty. Running off like that? Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? That's Leonardo. In her rider form. And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ha! Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor. Well, abnormal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though? At all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment, whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. A what's it now? Oh geez, this lady's 100 years ahead of the current times. No idea what this girl's talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now. Back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologize, of course, silly. My technician. What? You mean... say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me. Fine, have it your way. Oh, good. See, I knew you want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is not to get shot by that massive gun of yours. We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. She was a lively one. Well, you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yes, you're right, but where to? Oh, we haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London, we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to the worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one. Oh, Ada! Thank you very much for continuing your subscription. How are you going, by the way? Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Now, I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. Should have accepted the 1,000 guineas. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room. Or mansion. Yeah, take the blood money. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Glad to be worked, though? Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over. Off work, of course. Oh, cutscene.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
This can't be.
Getting rid of the evidence. I feel like, Mr. McGilder's gonna have a fairly hot summer. All right. Let's save the game here now, shall we? Now I'm adventurer of the clouded Kokoro. Kokoro meaning heart. Okay, now excuse me, I'm just gonna go and grab myself a drink. I'll be back in a few minutes, okay? Give me a second. Alrighty then. Sorry about that brief break. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I decided to get myself a gin and tonic, actually. Since I had some gin and tonic, and since we were talking about it earlier, decided why not? Let's grab a gin and tonic. Okay, let's continue with this, shall we? Alright, Adventures of the Clouded Kookaroo.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
19th February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying at a palace. And with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day even in the middle of the night. Oh, what about the enormous beds? After my time in the SS Buria, wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. Spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. The old classic bedroll. Oh yes! It really was the sort of night you could only dream of normally. Except when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place.
Good morning to you at this early hour.
Sus! Oh, yes, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato-san is amazing. He doesn't bat an eyelid even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart.
Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices.
Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider this test passed.
Oh,
No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. And I need to be careful when speaking as this guy, because saliva is going everywhere.
he's just one of those characters. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now.
Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem.
Another case? Already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Sorry, that's the flashback echo. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
McGilded is dead. Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? Gee, what a shock.
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
Yeah, as I said, getting rid of the evidence. That's what happened there. McGilded was also evidence. Anything... Get a different description if we look at these things now? Or is it the same as before? Must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. Over the top tombstone. That's just fanciful imagination. Yeah, we've all looked at this stuff before. So, well, Lord Strongheart, can you have a look at this? Issue a receipt. Examine it. Yeah. Well, okay, we've spoken with him about this before. It's same dialogue. Okay. Alright, let's talk about McGilded's death, shall we? Burned alive, I hear. I don't understand. What happened? How could he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak. But already, the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful! Awfully suspicious! The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. The bailiff really needs to pay more attention. No, he was doing precisely his job. How could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. No, I think he's dead. I think he's dead and Strongheart killed him. Although it is possible that it's faking his death and sort of getting him out of the country, or something like that, but I think he's dead. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But... And who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Oh, Mr. McGilded. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan. It is only a few short decades old. Yeah, that's precisely what I said. Wow. Sato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Most advanced in the world, is it? sus. It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. You called that simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. Welcome home, Ada. The circumstances of the case was so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No. My apologies. I've got this bad case, you see, of evil laugh. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, as I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. It's a double homicide and the trial starts in 5. Chop chop! Don't worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. It just read my mind. That is to say, no one has died as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. Assault. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. The trial's tomorrow, then. Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... Well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Yes. I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing. Mr. Naruhodo, there is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked, so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself, and there's another thing. Oh! Another thing? Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. Something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had the chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if it ever made it to... You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Made it to Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I have taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. Inspector Morse? He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. Oh, he's got some chips! He's got some chips with him! There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what do you mean? I wish I knew. Honestly, he never told me. Anyway, you'd better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Probably disturbing him from his fish and chips. Could we trouble you? He's definitely got fish and chips. I've never seen someone eat it like that. Like, normally you sit down to eat it. I suppose that's one way to do it. Alright. What do you think? Lovely weather, ain't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English jet eaten out of your hand, you know? Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. A very busy man. I see that, sir. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm, ever so sorry. Can I have some of those fish and chips, please? Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, I haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. All because of some bumpkin who here on a jaunt from a country I'd never even heard of. Yeah, ripping sound. That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. No need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant to... It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How did she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. My name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Tobias Gregson. Well, it's just meant to be sort of like a generic sort of name. I'm not seeing a pun here, at least. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? Oh, maybe it's a Sherlock reference. What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Alright. Detective Inspector in charge of Scotland Yard's investigation of the case. He's stern and single-minded in his approach, and a great lover of fish and chips. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato. He's a London detective. Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rants magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible! Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course. But he, does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. Thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the Yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now, whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. Fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Gosh, you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper. Can't catch exactly what they're saying. I know what folk are like. Sure, that's what they're saying. Sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise of fame does change people. about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before.
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
Young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Susato takedown, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Yunosuke. You've angered her now.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. Barely had any time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question?
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. Prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak von Zeeks.
No!
Sounds like you've heard of him then.
Oh, yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. It's okay, we've beaten him once before. Lord Barak Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilden told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. But the defendant died. He's called the Reaper of the Bailey, not because he gets guilty verdicts, but because everyone he goes up against dies. Alright.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGilded came out a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. You can't rightly say you've saved the defendant, can you?
What are you saying?
Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, it'd be a miracle worker. That's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic.
I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Alright.
He's a vampire. Are we really supposed to believe that? Hey, Jazzikin, how are you going?
Right, well, I've filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. So, I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there. I'm doing great, thank you for asking. Also, hey, lab rat. Yeah, pommes frites. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cell, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already. He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell, he is. Give you a good chuckle, if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. Thank you. So, there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. That the man they've arrested is innocent. You could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that very funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure how I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So, I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Do you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes! Let's go! Excellent. Alright, let's head on out. Now, we should probably go speak with our client first, shouldn't we? So, these prison cells are where suspects are held whilst they await trial. Visiting is permitted at certain times. Let's go head to the prison. Get his side of the story. 19th February, local prison, cell 9. I thought it was like 53, wasn't it? So these are British prison cells. Oh, ghastly. Feels just like a dungeon. Yes. And having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. It was cell 53, right? Inmate 53. Okay. That was my mistake. It's so dark at the back here, I can't make him out. Wonder what he's like. Inmate 53? Your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Calling me by a number. It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. I am not a number. I am a human being. Mr. Naruhodo? What? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea. I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh shit. Oh hey. Oh, let's hydrate a bit. Thank you, Jazza. Excuse me, but shh, quiet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right. So, could I ask you... there you are. You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. I wonder if this gentleman's blind. Ghost. We mean you no harm, Prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams. His eyes keep changing color. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's, fine. Just a little surprise, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment! Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? What compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nippon! I think he might have just dabbed. First-class lawyer? Well, I have never lost a case. Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I can, I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent. Is he perhaps... Now you can face double the casual races in this case. Indeed, Lab Rat, indeed. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. I wonder if he's... like a fan of someone specific. Like, if he's like a Wota or something? Or if he's like a Westerbo, like a Britishaboo, like obsessed with England. I suppose not. Otherwise he'd be praising the cell. We'll find out more about him. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government, notably notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. As you can see, I do have an armband here. Yes! The symbol of one of our greatest empires. First-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side. You'll defend me. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you. Then why else would you show me that? Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Alright, let's have a chat with Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume.
I wonder if that name is a pun in some way. Soseki Natsume. San? What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. Ah, there we go. It's something of a nom de plume. Nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, no, no! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku? That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh, but just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No! What do you mean? Oh, he's having difficulty learning English, I guess. Poor guy, it can be hard to learn a language. If they'd told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. I see. Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. Let's talk about these accusations against you, shall we? Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it. I definitely didn't commit atrocious murder. Murder? Oh, no, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, did you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear. Seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Oh, why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse. The curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. Okay. Interesting. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? He likes books. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat, she was. Oh, and And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. Okay. She was probably at the bookshop as well in that case. If she's carrying a bunch of books. How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. He is a poet. He's allowed to exaggerate. He's paid to. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs would carry me, back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. I'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that. I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman, unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one. Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? Obviously, who else could have stabbed the woman? What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. If that's the case, then this man has to be the culprit. So how did the police find him then, if nobody saw him leave? You! What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Exactly. Racism in the force? Nani? He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh, yes. She's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck, accursed great detective. Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Rash, big-headed, busybody, be gone! May you be cursed until the end of your days. Her Hairlock Sholmes. I knew it! Alright, he's found the wrong guy again. You gotta go fix up his testimony. Mr. Sholmes. Let's talk about Herr Locksholms. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police. Put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils! Thrust! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herr Locksholms. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English, not Deutsch. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendishly foreign film flammery! Flim-flam! Flim-flam man! I should redo 4 to 8 Shibuya Scramble someday. That was a good stream. Well, the R in England, we can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point. A good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? He's not fine now. That's for certain. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes. All right. Yes. They've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour. A student. I have defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake. The man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake. I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, what do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness, why? Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say, the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. It's awful. They're wrong. I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Soseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes! Yes! Thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Alright. Does he react differently now that he knows? Okay, he doesn't. Alright. Alright, so, yeah, visiting a cold, dark jail brings home the reality of crime and punishment. Always feel on edge here. There are so many interesting books I wish I could borrow. Alright, let's go to Briar Road, shall we? That bike there's seen better days. 19th February, Briar Road. Well, this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah! Look! Mr. Naruhodo! Look at that regulation metal helmet! It's unmistakable! The men of Scotland Yard are here! They're investigating as we speak! That is their job, you know? But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Oh, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close to a real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your happy dream comes true. Oh man, I could go over some fish and chips right now.
What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh! Inspector Gregson!
This, isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
Oh, so you've been to the holding cells then? What did you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. That's racist. Well, do what you will. Doesn't bother me. Bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict's a foregone conclusion.
Ah, stone cold air of rejection. I mean, according to us Japanese tourists, there's also possibly racism. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air. That makes it worse somehow. And there's the fact that the client wasn't getting getting a fair shake because of racism as well. That's also a thing. I'm banned. Inspector Gregson, could I show you this?
I'm supposed to know what that is. Never seen that insignia before.
It's worn by defense lawyers in the Empire of Japan as a symbol of their profession.
In other words, it's a worthless trinket here in Great Britain.
Oh no, it's very important to me. It shows my spirit.
English gentleman keeps things like his spirit very much to himself, I'll have you know.
Oh. Don't give up, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too late. He's crushed my spirit already.
Ah, good old British stoicism, I take it. What do you got to talk about? Scotland Yard, case, tomorrow's trial.
Let's examine the place, shall we? That's a rather typical brick building, isn't it? Sure, it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. Must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. Maybe we can go find some lodgings on Baker Street. Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonable level floors. Oh, a British bicycle! Look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. Seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground
seems reckless. Let's see how you feel about the Wright brothers in the future. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. Well, have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming out from the chimneys, though. Dear, everything still feels very foreign. So much we have to learn about this place. Alright, let's have a look at the street, shall we? Piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. Seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It'll soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. Seems like it'll be far safer to walk on the road instead. Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed all in black. I worry coachmen might not see you and you could be flattened by horses. Well, thank you for the, rather small concern. I'm, admittedly not familiar too much with, walking down streets covered in snow. But when I was in Japan, it did snow while I was there. And, that shit's slippery, yo. Gotta be careful. Clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. It is known as Foggy London Town. I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. Looks like it's still being built, though. Aha! Yes! That must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently, it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and a symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition. It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. Okay. Now, let's head on back here, shall we? Got the Daily News over there. William Robbins. Horses. Oh, that's Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush the crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? Oh, it's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious. Snowman. What a delightful snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though. Oh, it has a scarf, look. You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. Wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. At the same time, while I was in Japan, myself and my friends made a snowman out in this this yard that was sort of next to the place we were staying. It was quite fun, to be honest. We even dressed it up a little bit.
And there were people sort of like walking past us and occasionally sort of looking, and we would just sort of like smile and say hello to them. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. The person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know. You're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. I mean, just brush the snow out, right? This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred. Yes. It's a very wide open space, isn't it? That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding. Oi! What are you foreigners doing here? Ah! Oh, are we, just investigating the scene, officer? Conspiring with that mustached fella from Japan, are you? Conspiring? Me to destroy the evidence, have you? Get out of here before I give you a hiding. Go on. You shoot us away like rats. Racism! Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think. What a disappointing experience. And she was so excited to see the Bobby. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. Police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. That's victim blaming. Alright. Anything else? Before we go talk with Mr. Fish and Chips. Alright. Fish and Chips time. Scotland Yard. Tell us about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I've read about it in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. You know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. So I get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you. Oh, really? First thing in the morning, know what he does? Goes round and rouses all the labourers on his beat. They can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yep. Raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself, going back a bit. I had no idea. Is that true? But they serve as an alarm clock. Bobby works for the people of the town. Just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. Can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles? That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. Oh my. I suppose if between all of those duties, Bobby's
are expected to investigate cases as well, and chase after criminals trying to evade the law. I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, more alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit. I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Nalahoro. Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. I mean, you just wear it for a little while, right? You don't have to become a Bobby. Alright, about the case. Happened at around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there, on that open bit of pavement. Victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in the hospital. I never said she was a lady. Ah. Is this a Jack the Ripper sort of situation here? Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all. Suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? It's a yard policy to give lawyers, defendants, suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. Okay, local map entered into the court record. Let's have a look at that. So, we've got Meerschaum Street over here, Calabash Road, and Briar Road, huh? Okay. Wonder if those are going to be important at some point. Possibly we'll get to find out where the bookshop is on here or something. Right now it's not too useful. Anyway, as far as we know, there's no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So, who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. How? Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. What? You have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. Ah! It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them. There were witnesses now, huh? Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife. And the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard. Ah, fuck, it's the copper who did it. ACAB. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked? Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them banging the act and all that. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow, that is. Oh. I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So, that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's, that then. He's, got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yes. As a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh, yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that it was, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. What are you bringing him up for? Was it something I said? Color has drained from his cheeks. Let's ask about the trial first, and then Sholmes. That which Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow? You going to defend him or not? Makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of my time trying. It is all a bit strange, though. Sorry? The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now. Yes, he did hear something to that effect. And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum, the master criminals, the violent ones. Master criminals? The violent ones? That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely. That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Wouldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase. Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No. Gotta be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? Think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? Man's a vampire, I tell you. Have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial. Are you really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? Alright, tell us about Mr. Sholmes, please. Who heard that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions. A fit of battle! Man's an amateur! I'm getting sick and tired of him shoving his mug everywhere. Oh, I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, claims to have solved the case. Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he? Gibble gabble! Ever seen this before? Oh, yes. At Rant Magazine. A wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears. Yes. Well, that wonderful publication, as you put it. Sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. So-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. Ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any of Herlock Sholmes' tales at all. Well, I suppose there is an element of that. I know, right, Drago? Like, I've had some pasta bolognese already, and the fish and chips is making me hungry too. I'm so jealous of him. How are you going, by the way? Work our socks off, every one of us. Only be trumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. Man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals. Can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Oh, did you get your vaccine done? Ah, congratulations. I got mine done Friday as well, actually. Thankfully, I didn't really have much of a reaction to it, aside from localized pain. I did feel general soreness in my body, but I feel like that was more the fact that I left the house for the first time in a month or so. Month and a half. So that was sort of like a bit of a workout, I guess. So I'm not going to blame that on the vaccine. I'm going to blame that on being inactive. Yeah, clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. You're hungry as well. Okay. One of my friends who got vaccinated said that for him, he felt a lack of hunger after having it. We both had Pfizer, so I was sort of like expecting similar to him, but no dice in that respect at least. I'm not sure what sort you ended up having, but obviously everyone's going to have a different reaction because everyone's body is different. Yeah, my left arm was definitely sore. Lower arm, absolutely fine, but moving my upper arm at all would cause pain, so I tried not to. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. Oh, the bobbies are gone. Mr. Dalahoro, can I make a suggestion? Oh, yes. What is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. Oh. Did you not have the option to have it in your right arm? Like the person sort of asked me, is left arm all right? And I said yes, because I'm right-handed. Sure, you can have it done in your right arm. By him, do you mean... Okay. But they didn't ask you either. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Exactly. Well, look at those shining eyes. Can't wait, can you? Well, if you haven't had your second, there's no harm in asking if you can have it in your right arm instead, right? Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again, Baka. The trouble is, you have no idea of the man's address even. It's Baker Street, exactly, it's Baker Street. How do you even know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. I got the Janssen vaccine. I'm not familiar with that one at all. Should be funny if the actual Sherlock Holmes appeared. I mean, he does! He's totally in this game. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. Well, there's, nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We'd better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage. So, we're, have a reunion already with the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Anyway, Sherlock Holmes is actually a fairly common way of referring to him, because not necessarily a lot of people know this, but there was a book in 1908 called Arsène Lupin versus Sherlock Holmes, and that was published as like sort of like a fan book, fan crossover sort of book with the Sherlock Holmes sort of stuff, and so it's a fairly common, I guess, for him to sort of be like in works where he isn't the main character, to sort of have him as Sherlock Holmes, I guess. Ah, Johnson & Johnson, gotcha. I hear. Alright. No, the Bowies are still here. Well, never mind. You can have this map back, by the way. Thank you again for this. I don't mention it. I had someone at the yard fish it out for me, but in the end I didn't need it. Oh? Yeah, because the estate of Arthur C. Doyle didn't want Sherlock. Exactly, Drago. There was a whole sort of controversy around that. Well, the case could hardly be simpler, could it? I don't need a map to work out what happened. And throw it away when you're done with it. Cold. I still want your fish and chips, though, buddy. Alright, new location has been added. Police are investigating. And, yeah. 221B Baker Street. Urban office of the most famous detective in the world. Can we really visit, do you think? Oh, pinch me, I'm sure I must be dreaming. Alright, let's go. Oh, cutscene.
Thank you very much.
It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
February 12:53 p.m. Sholmes's suite. Okay. So, this is where the great detective makes his living. Feels surreal to be here somehow. Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Susato-san? Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. Oh, the detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it!
The romanticism. Ah, can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can. Yes. Do you hear the people singing the songs of angry men? It is the music of the people who will not be slaves again. Does the beating of your heart echo the beating of the drum? It is the music of the people who will not be slaves again. So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me. Ah, she's obsessed. Alright. Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Oh, it's you again. Hello! Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello? Wait. Aren't you? Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once. Welcome back, Da Vinci. I'm sure it's the same girl. Miss Susato, did you see the girl who was just over here? Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bohemia? King Wilhelm Gottsreich, Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there. The tea is brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. Ah, it's you. I knew it. The Zato-san recognizes her too. Ah, there you are. And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilder's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Oh, poor you, having to get straight to work when you're only just arrived in London. Oh, yes, it was, challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. Oh, you must be exhausted after your long voyage here. And you'll have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely. And don't call me Shirley. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Oh, was he really? Oh, well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. I met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley. Dr. Watson, I presume. Ah, Iris, is it? Oh, what a lovely name. What? What's the matter? No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. And what are your names? Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Bruno. Got it. Susie and Bruno? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. Alright, first things first. Armband. Iris, could you guys show you this? Oh, how exciting. What is it? Tell me all about it. Oh, actually, I was hoping you might be able to tell me something about it if anything comes to mind. Why would it? Well? No, I suppose it wouldn't. Tell me! I want to hear everything. This hasn't gone according to plan. Map! Alright. Nothing about the map. She seems lovely, though. 10 years old. An extraordinary young girl who lives with Mr. Sholmes. She has a degree in medicine and is the author of a popular series of short stories. Yeah, Skull Ascent. Yeah, okay. So, I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we've arrived in the country, in fact. Why does she sound a bit like Watson? Probably because she is Watson. We did actually deal with a murder in the first case of a Dr. Wilson who was in Japan, and I'm suspecting that that might be her father, who was the John Watson, who's supposed to sort of be here. So I guess we'll get that confirmed in a bit. Yeah, I guess that's Watson in this universe. Lingering beside the fire, watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. So relaxing. Fireplaces are quite nice, but they do cause a lot of pollution in the house, actually, due to the way that all the, like, even with a chimney, the wood smoke and ash sort of gets into the building. Can't relax. Not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories. It is? Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example, are my chocolates for elevensies. And transfixed by that large jackknife is my shopping list for the market. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. Poor Susato-san. He looks crushed. Cards. A mystery shoe, curious hammer,
and some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament. Oh, those are all mementos that Hurley has collected from his past cases. Really? Even the bust? Yes, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust. Poor defenseless emperor? Mr. Sholmes destroys it? Yes, and then he buys a new one. You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor. Ah, how entrancingly bohemian of him. What did Napoleon do to you? I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Oh, I thought that was blowing. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? Very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Oh, that chest contains some of my most valuable things. Smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. Oh well, another time, I guess. Okay. Ah, that's my blackboard, where I note down ideas. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter? What does that mean? Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll come back to that blackboard later. What's Black Peter? Surely that's not a racist thing, right? What a beautiful English tea set. So neatly arranged. It's a favorite pastime of mine, a cup of herbal tea in the afternoon. Tea made of herbs? That's right. There are all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. Oh, one moment. Don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today. She looks delighted. Only hope it's safe to drink. Alchemy! That's a charming little white shelf and full of charming little bottles too. Oh yes! Don't touch any of those. It might explode. Explode? Are those exotic chemicals? Oh, do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Hurley always says, chemistry is an explosive science. Iris is so cute. Okay? I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world. Or perhaps he just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, do not touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. Good advice. A typewriter. What on earth is that big black lump over there? Ah, that fascinating thing is old typewriter. Yeah, no problem. Get yourself some rest. Hopefully that fatigue will go away in a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't. Like I also sort of took a few days off streaming, just in case. Like even though I didn't have as bad a reaction as you did, I decided to sort of take it easy as they sort of told me. Just in case. It's a machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quick, too. Oh, that sounds like it could be very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting.
Okay. Nothing over here. Anything else? No? All good. Ha! Globe. Had to work Friday night the same week you got your shot. Ah. Didn't they let you have time off to recover? There's all sorts of things. There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. I keep telling Hurley not to cram so much on these shelves. Good advice. I wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago. That was so tightly wedged in, he couldn't get it out. So he went and bought a new copy instead. Filthy bourgeois. Alright. Violin. I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing. Oh, really? Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find. What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London. Oh, yes. Well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So now it's merely an ornament in my room. Oh, that must have been an awkward conversation. And I got an achievement for that. Second-rate strings. It pays to explore. What's this thing? What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine? That is the Great Analytoscope. It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a full year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things does he analyze with it? Do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet. Oh, why not? Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him, I don't actually have anything I need to analyze. Oh dear. How about you, Bruno? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze? Only thing that springs to mind is, this machine itself. Can it analyze itself? Alright. I think we've, clicked on everything here. Oh. My mistake. And let's have a chat with Iris here. Yep, Wilson. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey. Oh, yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh, no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though, at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Oh, like this? Oh! Ah! Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Oh, Guinea? Oh, yeah, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that. Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption? Exactly! So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions. This girl is dangerous. Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician. Sorry, your technician? Oh, Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Herlock. Herlock Sholmes. We live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter. Daughter? Not likely. What? Oh, I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I? Well, then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So, the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Your roommates. I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? Oh, 10 at last this year. What of your mother and father? Oh, no. They're not around. Oh, I see. Wonder what the story is there. We know. We know. Oh, yes! There's something I must ask you. Of course, of course. Go ahead, Susie. I am a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And, oh! You have a copy of Rance magazine! Yes! I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh! This is so exciting! My stories are being read on the other side of the world. My stories? Oh, that's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. You really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness! Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So, I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you are the author? Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band. The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rance magazine all written by me? Yes! On my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, a Dr. John H. Wilson. Sato-san's getting more and more worked up. Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? That's all true too. I am a doctor of medicine. No,
At 10 years old? At 10 years old? Well, that's quite incredible. But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly, for the stories to be more compelling. Show me the paperwork. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow? I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susato-san. Looks like her whole world has just fallen apart. Truth is indeed stranger than fiction. About before. Yes? What's on your mind, Bruno? Do tell me. How did you know that I was a lawyer and we'd just arrived in London, I mean? Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. First of all, I already knew that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said that you'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that? I observed a passport and travel tickets protruding from your breast pocket. Oh, so I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me that you were unaware of London's court affairs. The Reaper of the Bailey. Walked right into that one, didn't I? Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilden, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face. So, I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case. I see. But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that it caught a Japanese man who was balding and trembling. A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been... Hydrate? Good idea. Let me go grab a drink. I've run out. Give me a second.
Alright, and there's my drink. Thank you, Kuro. I was certainly thinking of getting one myself. I was thinking of maybe waiting until after the stream, but alright. Clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume. Now, Bruno has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So, I put two and two together and decided that you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. Sounds good to me, Kuro. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He is silly. And, that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. She's certainly a lot better at deductions than Herlock is. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct? They were spot on. That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction. You even managed to certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery. Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please? Hey. Well, I think we will ask her about the Japanese man. So, yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, was saying. Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene. Ah, Great Detective is a popular man, it seems. Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all. Hurley used his great detective powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear. Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time. Of course it did. He's a great detective. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it? Definitely. You have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime. Oh. Scotland Yard is doing its best, but he can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear. I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. It's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system. I suppose it is. But in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Also, how does that make this a great justice system? Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative. Oh, you're most welcome. I had so much fun. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you'd guess, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well. Ah, well, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene. Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean? Yes, Mr. Natsume? Huxley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there? Yes, we know Inspector Gregson. Ah, goody! In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know. What is this? A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. Iris's postcard has been entered into the court record. Okay. Card for Inspector Gregson with a message on the back from Iris. It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem? Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try." Good luck, then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. Would be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime. So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all, we headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. I'll save the game here. And I think that's an excellent point to stop the stream for the night, don't you? How did everyone enjoy that? I managed to wrap up the previous case and we're getting started on the next one. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing where things go, especially considering that really surprising twist that last case took. I certainly didn't expect it to be basically inconclusive. That was strange as hell. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to be doing some more Library of Ruina, and we'll be doing that for the next day as well. Thursday will be the Combat Baker and the Automaton Waitress, and Friday will be when we pick up where we left off on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So hopefully I'll be able to see people there for that. Anyway, we're going to go raid Bear now, who looks like is playing some Lobotomy Corporation, so it'll be good to stop by and see how his facility is going. Yeah, no problem, Hell. Glad you enjoyed it. So, hopefully, I'll be able to see you all next time, alright? See ya!